Good evening and welcome to Athens City Council. Tonight is a regular session of City Council. It is on or around 7:05 p.m. on January 22nd, 2019. We will begin with establishing a quorum. All members of council are present. As noted, I am sitting in for President Knisley, who is unable to be with us this evening. I will be offering a vote as well and communicating as a council member also. Moving on to disposition of minutes, is there a motion to adopt minutes from the regular session held January 7th, 2019?
So moved.
So we do have a motion to clarify. You got that? And then a second, thank you. All those in favor of adopting the disposition of minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Moving on to communications, specifically from council members. First, yes, Councilmember Reisner.
I received a communication from a constituent expressing their appreciation for the snow removal and of the streets in a timely manner. So I thought I'd pass that along to let people know that we are appreciated sometimes.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other communications from council members? Reports and communications from other elected officials. Let's begin with Law Director Lisa Lassen. Thank you, Law Director. Mayor Patterson.
I just have a couple items tonight. To start with, we received a letter from the Northeastern Ohio Public Energy Council on the next round of Energized Communities grants. We received one of these grants last year, which we were able to use for solar lighting on our new bus shelters on East State Street. And so we're in the process of thinking of other ways in which we could utilize this grant. One of the items that is permissible under this granting mechanism, among other things, are LED lights. But as I was scrolling through and looking at some of the other things that this money could be used for, generators is an item. And as council is well aware, we do have a need for an electrical generator here with the city building as well as the law building / police department. So we'll look to see what ways in which we might be able to utilize that mechanism. Another item I have is this Thursday morning I'll be representing Athens at the Ohio Conference for Community Development. I've been asked to sit on a panel with the Director of Public Service of the City of Marysville, the Executive Director for Union County Marysville Economic Development Partnership, the City Manager of Dublin, Dana McDaniels, and then I will be representing the City of Athens for smart communities and smart infrastructure. And I think we have a lot to share with things that we're doing or hoping to do here in the City of Athens. Among other things, potentially having a smart corridor that goes all the way from Dublin to Athens, Ohio. But we'll more to come on that. I don't know that I'll actually come out and say that at that meeting. The last thing I'd like to share with council is that I did receive a nice letter from the outgoing governor, the past governor of the state of Ohio, Governor Kasich, and it has to do with our involvement in the Ohio Art Corridor, which was exploring the possibility of having large art sculptures that essentially would go from Circleville to Lancaster, Logan. Athens was included in Zanesville, some other cities, to kind of once again raise a level of prominence and recognition by having large art sculptures. But I was deeply involved in several meetings to that effect. And so I received this nice letter from the governor, which I don't need to read.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson.
You're welcome.
And thank you for being an advocate of the arts. I appreciate that as well. Thank you. No further communications from elected officials moves us forward to ordinances for third reading. We do have a few ordinances as well this evening that may require suspension of the rules. So just warning in advance. Ordinance 157-18, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a housing revolving loan fund administration agreement with the State of Ohio Development Services Agency and declaring an emergency. This is introduced this evening by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. This ordinance has been discussed in committee. It's been read twice. The title pretty much explains everything there is to say about it. Does the administration have anything else to add to it?
I do not.
Former council. So I make a motion that we adopt 157-18.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Reiser. If there's no further comments or discussion, we can proceed. All those in favor of adopting ordinance 157-18, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ordinance has been adopted. Thank you. Ordinance 158-18, an ordinance authorizing the City of Athens to participate in the U.S. Community's National Government Cooperative Purchasing Program. This, too, is introduced by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I hereby make a motion that we adopt 158-18.
Second.
Again, this ordinance has been read twice. It's been to committee. The administration has spoken in favor of it. Remind everyone, this ordinance allows the city to purchase items without having to go through a bidding process. It does not negate our ability to collect bids for items, but it's mainly designed to look for items that are very specific in nature, that there may be only one vendor within the area or the United States that could provide the thing. So this helps us at least reduce our costs. Does the administration have anything more to say about it?
No.
Thank you, Councilmember Reisner. Any further comments from council or the public at large? Thank you. We have a motion and a second for ordinance 158-18. All those in favor of adopting the ordinance, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. The ordinance has been adopted. Moving on to ordinances for second reading. Ordinance 01-19, an ordinance amending Athens City Code Title I, General Provisions, to include the annual fee for contractor registration and declaring an emergency. This ordinance will be introduced this evening by Councilmember Fall.
I request that we move to amend this particular ordinance.
So motion to amend. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, please. Can somebody second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay. As people recall, it's kind of housekeeping for our code of putting all the fees and stuff into its own section, which is easier to amend in the future if certain fees go up or down. So here's another section that I would like to amend into that title, and it includes the sections 50304 water rates, and it has the various water rates that the city has. It's not an increase or anything. It's just taking them from where they are found now and put into our fee schedule chapter to make it easier in the future.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any questions on the proposed amendment only? Comments? Okay, we do have a motion to amend the ordinance and a second. So voting only on the proposed amendment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Thank you, Councilmember. The motion has, the ordinance has been amended. If you'd like to proceed.
I would like to suspend now that it's at first reading.
Correct.
The reason for the suspension is because we would like to put this onto our Muni code with this year's changes and updates. It's a lot cheaper if you do it in a package. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on suspension only? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The ordinance is under suspension of the rules. Thank you.
I move that we adopt 01-19.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any questions or comments before we formally vote on the new ordinance and from the public? Proceeding forward, we do have a motion and a second on the new reading. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. The new motion the ordinance has been adopted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving forward with ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 02-19, an ordinance amending Athens City Code, Title 5, Public Utilities, Chapter 5.03, Water Regulations, and this is introduced by Councilmember Butler. We did discuss this in committee meeting, and as you recall, City Service Safety Director Andy Stone was present for that as well and offered some comments and input. Essentially, this is to move the rates to Title I and enumerate in Title V. I will be requesting a motion to suspend here, and my reason is similar to Councilmember Fall, which is to update the code book and clean this up and move forward in a timely manner. So I'll formally ask for a motion to suspend Ordinance 02-19.
Second.
Any questions or comments on suspension only? And from the public? We have a motion to suspend the rules and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So the motion has been suspended successfully for this ordinance, and I'd like to formally make a motion to adopt Ordinance 02-19.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Reisner. Is there any question or comment before we proceed with this ordinance? None from the audience? Thank you. So we have a motion to adopt Ordinance 02-19 and a second. All those in favor of adopting the ordinance, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. We've successfully passed the ordinance. Ordinance 03-19, an ordinance amending the 2019 appropriation ordinance and an expenditure for the annual contract with Athens Community Television and declaring an emergency. This is introduced by Councilmember Butler, so I will again be sharing briefly about this one. I will request suspension as well on this one, and my reason for suspension is that the contract has expired and we're playing a little bit of catch up here.
Second.
Thank you for the formal. Is that Councilmember Reisner? Mm-hmm. Thank you. I will offer a brief description of this. Again, this is for our ACTV contract, and specifically an amount of $66,000 to extend this contract operations through 2019. And this authorizes the City Service Safety Director to proceed. Any questions or comments? None. Thank you. In the audience? So we're voting on suspension only, correct?
Right.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Ordinance 03-19.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember. For the reasons I stated earlier, and to proceed with this contract to support ACTV and the creative endeavors that take place there. As you recall, we also had a brief update from Councilmember Reisner, who is a board member of ACTV, and he filled us in as well, too, on some of the happenings. Any questions or comments before we vote? or input from the public? Thank you. So we do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting ordinance 03-19, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, everyone. The ordinance has been adopted. Moving on to ordinance 04-19. This ordinance is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of softening salt for the water treatment plant, introduced by Councilmember Butler. And again, as you recall, we did we received some input from our City Service Safety Director, Andy Stone, on this, and acknowledged that through better operations, we've saved some money and specifically, I think, thousands of dollars, and are requesting 400 less tons than we've needed in the past. So again, thank you for the hard work, the executive branch, and all the department heads. It makes a difference. Yes, Councilmember Reisner.
I noticed here in Section 2 the amount is $145,000.
Correct.
This afternoon, I believe I heard the City Service Safety Director mention the figure $200,000. Remember, Pete Coladas was there also. Did you hear that figure, or
Councilmember Casas?
Casas, I'm sorry.
You can call me whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But yes, that is
Apologize.
correct. That is correct. No, I did hear that number being at 200,000.
It was 200,000 last year.
It was basically during that conversation, it was an expend up to $200,000.
Well, the way I read this section here, he could spend up to $145,000, but he couldn't get $200 if necessary. So, I mean, if the administration is comfortable with that, I have no objection.
Thank you, Councilmember, and thank you, Mayor. Again, this is first reading, so we do have some time to clarify and check our figures and confirm with the City Service Safety Director as to the needs. So thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Just that during that conversation this afternoon, the number 145,000 was
confirmed.
We did talk about it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? And from the public? Thank you. That moves us forward. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We are ordinance 05-19, an ordinance closing East Union Street between Court and University Terrace on Saturday, April 6, 2019, from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the International Street Fair, and this is introduced by Councilmember Casas. Thank you.
President Pro Tem Butler, thank you. We had a great presentation last week from the president and I believe it was vice president of the ISU, International Student Union, speaking about the 50th anniversary holding of the Ohio University International Street Fair. So this is a request to close East Union Street between Court and University Terrace, in front of Old Baker Civil War Monument, in that area from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday, April 6, 2019.
Thank you, Councilmember. Am I correct in recalling that was the location last year? Is that correct?
Correct. There's no changes to the time or street closure as it was last year. They enjoyed what they had last year.
Thank you. Questions and comments from Council. Councilmember Fall.
Do we know when Numberfest is this year?
He
looks with pain.
We do. We do. And Councilmember Fall, I will double check. I don't believe it's that weekend, but let me confirm that.
And then Athens Beautification Day too, with that.
Yeah, that's it's always on a Sunday. I will confirm that date as well.
Thank you.
At my fingertips, I don't have those dates.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, Mayor Patterson, thank you.
I would like to confirm, that this new location of having the International Street Fest on that portion of East Union, it was very successful last year. And it was also to a large extent successful for the business owners on court, because that was Mom's Weekend and will be Mom's Weekend. So it was with a lot of work, as you may recall, to kind of maneuver that fest around onto East Union last year. But I think with their use of Howard Square as well as the street itself, it makes for a great venue, makes for a great space to hold a street fest.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Councilmember.
Numberfest, we looked it up. Sam looked at the 13th.
I was going to say the 13th.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Magic. The magic of the interweb.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Mayor, too, for that update as well.
You're welcome.
Again, I think this is one more example, again, of this symbiotic relationship we have with the university and an ability to collaborate and come up with a win-win for an event that's been going on for 50 years?
50 years.
So thank you for that cooperation, Mayor. Any other comments? Moving forward to Ordinance 06-19, an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to enter into an LPA/state project agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for bridge painting within the corporation boundary on U.S. State Route 33, in parentheses, PID 106810, and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember Katsas.
President Pro Tem Butler, thank you. I did, this came across our very long desk here this evening. This was a note that was sent from ODOT District 10, Andrea Fulmer. They would like to add 2 additional bridges on US 33 into this project. Once again, this ordinance is just recognizing that ODOT is going to do work within our city limits, and they are going to shoulder 100% of all the costs on this bridge painting project. If you ask me what the additional bridges that are being added, I will be able to tell you I don't know.
Okay.
Just based on the notes here, it is 2 bridges, but I believe it is the eastbound and westbound lane of one, just based on the numeration that I'm getting on the additional bridges that are being added.
Wonderful.
So
thank you.
I don't know if administration knows specifically where this new old bridge.
I don't. I believe it's the Hocking River bridges, but I can get more intel on that as well.
Okay. It's not a big issue. There's only so many bridges on US 33 within the city limits.
If they want to paint them, paint away.
Go for it.
It would be nice to have the, by the way, to have the Stroud's Run Bridge painted someday.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know that is one of those that you have.
Okay, thank you.
It does get painted all the time, Councilmember Crowell. It's just the wrong colors.
Glad you pointed that out.
Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councilmember. I will sound like I'm repeating myself here because this ordinance reads very similarly to the one we just read. So this is Ordinance 07-19, an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to enter into an LPA/state project agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for bridge painting within the corporation boundary on U.S. State Route 33, parentheses, PID 25343, and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember Katsas. Thank you.
President Pro Tem Butler, thank you. Yes, Ordinance 0819. This is actually the bridge.
0719.
0719. I'm looking at the wrong one. There we go. I'm up to speed now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
0719. This is actually the bridge that goes over the Hocking River on State Route 33 in between East State Street and Stimson Avenue. And once again, ODOT shouldering 100% of the costs in this bridge painting project. Like I said last week, one of them is slated to be done this coming May. The other one is actually for 2020, but they may try to get it accomplished based on their schedule progress throughout the year. They might try to get it in 2019.
Thank you, Councilmember, for the update.
Thank you.
Clarification there. Any questions or comments? And from the public? From the mayor, anything? Thank you, sir. Moving forward to Ordinance 08-19, an ordinance amending the 2019 appropriation ordinance, and this is introduced by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules for 08-19.
Second.
The reason for the suspension is that in part of this appropriation ordinance, there's an item of $7,014 that goes to the Ohio Department of Transportation for a project. It's our share of a project payment of a project that has already been completed. So we have a payment due to the state of Ohio.
Thank you for the clarification. We have a motion to suspend and a second for Ordinance 08-19. Is there any questions or comments on suspension only? So moving forward, all those in favor of suspending the rules, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You may proceed, Councilmember.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt 08-19.
Second.
Before we vote, I'd like to read the pertinent section. Section 1, the 2019 Appropriation Ordinance 14018 is hereby amended by appropriating from the unappropriated balance the following sums. $2,150 to General Fund Treasurer 101.103 toward original budget as follows. $2,500 to Transaction Code 200, $1,600 to Transaction Code 300, and $300 to Transaction Code 500. $420 to Enhancement Fund 250, Transaction Code 300 for real estate taxes, and $7,014 to Wheel Tax Fund 226, Transaction Code 500 for additional local share of Ohio Department of Transportation Urban Paving Program, Project ID 84549, State Route 56 resurfacing.
And thank you for that. There may have been a, did you say 2,500 or 250?
250.
Thank you, yeah, for clarification, I think, just for, yeah, 250 in transaction class 200, thank you. Any questions or comments on what Councilmember Reisner has shared with us? Thank you, Councilmember. So we, and from the public at large or the mayor? None, okay, thank you, sir.
No.
So we have a motion to adopt Ordinance 08-19 and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you, everyone. The ordinance has been adopted. Ordinance 09-19, an ordinance establishing a credit card policy and declaring an emergency. This is introduced by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. We discussed the credit card policy in committee, and because we're at a timeline, February 1st, I'm going to make a request that we suspend the rules for 09-19. And the reason for suspension is we're running out of time to get this passed, as required by the state of Ohio.
Thank you. Any questions or comments before we proceed with a vote on suspension? Okay. All those in favor of suspending the rules, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt 09-19. Before we vote, I know a copy of this extensive ordinance is on our hard drive, but this afternoon the auditor requested some minor changes. Those changes are now on our drive also, I believe. Is anyone prepared to speak to them on? I don't have that item in front of me at the moment. I could look it up, I suppose.
Councilmember, there was some question about determining a designee.
Yeah.
Did you have an update on that?
Yes, it's still up in the air. That's the update. All I can tell you is you're off the hook.
Okay.
We realize that President Pro Tem cannot act in that capacity. So
Thank you.
we're certainly exploring who that person would be.
We're looking for a new volunteer.
Okay, great.
We are, willingly or not.
Exactly.
Councilmember Katsas, did you have a comment?
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
I did pull up the amended points that Kathy Heck would like to have, which was under the prohibited expenses. She wanted to add uniforms,
Okay.
utility payments, phone and wireless services.
So we have uniforms, utility payments, and the third one,
Phone and wireless services.
thank you, phone and wireless. Thank you.
And those are under the prohibited expenses. And the following purchases are strictly prohibited.
Which also include alcoholic beverages, personal purchases, cash advances, items or services on term contracts unless approved by the auditor.
Maintenance agreements unless approved by the auditor, individual meals and purchases not related to city business.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to bring up one point under maintenance agreements that many software companies offer maintenance agreements for their software, and often it's not the only way you're going to be able to pay for that is through a credit card. So that's going to become something that's going to happen more and more frequently as time goes on. The good old days of a purchase order or a check in the mail is just rapidly being made obsolete. So we have to have these policies in place.
Thank you, Councilman Reisner. Any other questions or comments? And from the mayor? None?
No.
Thank you. And from the public? So as we proceed, we do have a motion to adopt Ordinance 09-19 and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, everyone. The ordinance has been adopted. Thank you, too, to the Auditor's Office for their hard work on this as well, and the Mayor. This is something that's been in discussion for a while.
A long while.
Yeah. Ordinance 10-19, an ordinance amending Ordinance 08-18, establishing a city code title for initiative petitions, and this is introduced by Councilmember Fall.
Thank you. We don't need to suspend it. We talked about this. This is do we need, oh gosh, okay, we do. Yes, we do want to.
Okay.
Okay. I move to suspend particular order of 10-19.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. This is to put, to amend 08-18, which was how we were going to name the chapter where all the initiative, citizen initiative were codified after they were passed by city vote. And so it's just a renaming of a certain chapter in the code. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. So we have a motion and a second, and again, this is solely on suspending the rules. Any comment before we vote to suspend? All those in favor of suspending the rules, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Councilmember, you may proceed.
I move that we adopt said ordinance.
Second.
For those reasons that I just enumerated. And to also get it into this year's update of the Muni Code.
Thank you, Councilmember. So we have some good housekeeping taking place here. Any questions or comments on Ordinance 10-19 before we vote? None? Okay. And from the public? All those in favor of adopting Ordinance 10-19, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ordinance has been adopted.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ordinance 11-19, an ordinance amending Title 15, Taxes, Chapter 15.01, and Income Tax, Section 15.01.13, Board of Appeal, introduced by Councilmember Fall.
And I'm going to ask whether that needs to be suspended.
I don't believe so.
Okay. We talked about this last week. This is being put forward by the auditor and the tax administrator. This is wording that we have to put into our code based on what the state has passed for their tax collection service. Preemption of what they do. This is another exciting experience of why we have to change code, because Columbus has preempted our ability to be able to have our words in our code. Just a short little editorial. Thank you. I will bring it back up on the next 2 readings about it.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other comments regarding this ordinance? And from the mayor, any?
Nothing.
Okay, thank you, sir. And the public. Moving on to ordinance 12-19, an ordinance granting a perpetual easement to Ohio University to permit installation of certain utility conduits on Station Street property, introduced by Councilmember Fall.
Thank you. This is a pretty mundane piece of legislation. It's giving an easement. It's a perpetual easement as opposed to a license that we give other situations. This is to enable the university to go forward with one of their building projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any questions or comments? Yes, Councilmember Constance.
This is the very, very small parcel.
Yeah.
It's okay, got it. Yeah.
It's like a corner,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Okay.
So.
Yes, Mayor Patterson? None? Okay.
No.
Thank you. And from the public? Moving on to resolution for first reading. This is R-01-19, a resolution indicating the services the City of Athens will provide for the proposed annexation of approximately 0.74 acres located on Hillcrest Avenue as requested by the annexation petitioner and declaring an emergency. This is introduced by Councilmember Fall.
Thank you. This is the first of 3 readings. This is the third step that you have to do when you annex a piece of property into the city. This is declaring which services the city will now afford that piece of property, which is all the normal city services of water, sewer, fire, police, EMS, sort of things. They get the privileges and the responsibilities of being part of the city.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any questions or comments? And from the mayor or public?
Nothing for me.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That moves us forward to announcements and other businesses, or business, rather. I do believe there was a request from Councilmember Reisner.
Yes, I have a couple of items that come under other business. First is a request that we approve the auditor's financial reports for December. I think everyone got copies.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone. So we do have a motion to accept the financial report from the auditor, the December report specifically, and we do have a second. So all those in favor of accepting that report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Move forward.
And the last item has to do with the, what we were discussing, the Income Tax Review Board. I have, there's a couple of appointments that need to be made from City Council, and I would like to nominate Rick Abel and Steve Sloan for a 2-year term of from 2/1/19 to 1/31/21. They have already confirmed their willingness to serve, so I would like to have council's approval to have these people serve on the Income Tax Review Board.
Do you want a motion?
Yes, please, can I have a motion?
I motion that we accept their gracious service offer.
Second.
Thank you, everyone. Is there any need for comments? Any questions or comments? So we have two appointees here, Mr. Abel and Mr. Sloan, and a motion and a second to participate with the Income Tax Review Board. All those in favor of the appointments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I will thank the appointees in advance for their hard work and dedication to the city. It can be tireless at times, but thank you. Any other announcements and other business? Yes, Councilmember Katsas.
Yes, thank you. As the appointed council member that attends the Shade Tree Commission meetings, I have received a note that John Katowski has agreed to serve another 2-year term. And so I want to thank him for his past work, and also that he's he's also paying it forward.
Thank you.
Do we need a motion for a reappointment, or
Yes.
we do?
So moved.
Okay. All right.
Second.
Thank you, everyone. So we have a motion and a second for the reappointment of Mr. John Katowski to the Shade Tree Commission. Any questions or comments? Moving forward, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Mr. Katowski, for your work and dedication. Again, it's sincerely appreciative. Any other announcements or other business? Yes, Mayor Patterson, thank you.
I have two items real quick. One, with the holiday yesterday, trash and recycling has been backed up a day. So just keep that in mind as you move through the week. And the other item that I have, some of you may have noticed, some may have really noticed, that the vending parking space signs has been drawn down to 3, which matches, I believe, the number of permits that have been issued. And so the others that used to be posted, until we have another person come forward requesting a monthly permit, those parking spaces that do not have the sign on them are open for parking. So,
Thank you, Mayor Patterson, for the clarification and updates on that. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other announcements or other business? I'm guessing that we probably will have some committee meetings next week. Please make sure that you communicate that to our clerk as well as
Finance and Personnel.
Thank you. Any others that we're aware of?
Not yet.
Okay, none that we're...
We may have transportation, but
Okay.
No, we usually do, but I haven't heard anything down the pipe yet.
Do you know if there might be any need for city service safety?
not at this time.
Okay, thank you, sir. So again, communicate to the clerk and or President Nisley.
Planning, I don't know. Just didn't want you to feel left out.
Just don't plan on it.
Moving forward, this is an opportunity for citizens to speak on legislative items and city services not covered on the agenda. Is there a desire to speak at the podium? Thank you. This moves us forward to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adjourning at approximately on and around 7:49, 7:50 p.m. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned. Have a good evening. Take care.